Welcome back to Bold of You to Say. We're back with another episode, a bit of a political one. We talked about Falcon and the Winter Soldier and just you know, how political it is. You know, usually Captain America, you know, the guy that punched Hitler in his first appearance, usually very, very apolitical, but
oh,
you know,
that's
this
what
one,
it was.
it's getting heated. There's a lot of ideologies going on. So yeah, we talked about that. We talked about Marvel Comics getting based. But before we get into that, we talked a bit about April Fool's Day, how it's the worst.
Alex doesn't like it.
And then that somehow led to us talking about the Purge for like 10 to 15 minutes, I think.
I have a point, okay? April Fool's Day is our version of the Purge, and I'm not wrong.
I will stand by that. I will stand by that.
I will die on that hill.
There will be timestamps listed out down below so you can skip to whatever topic you'd like. You know, if you want to skip a certain part, or if you just can't wait to get to a certain part, you know, just check out where it is in the show, you know, skip to that part in the timeline. We really don't mind. Download is a download.
Hell yeah.
Subscribe so you don't miss the next episode if you like what we do here. Follow us on social media, see what kind of stuff we would tweet. Follow me on TikTok, friend Jared on Steam and or Xbox.
And to any company out there, I will totally shill whatever shit you're selling. I don't care if it's like actual like illegal stuff. I just want the money.
Yeah, we will do anything for the almighty dollar. Speaking of that, buy our merch. I forgot to mention that in the outro, but yeah.
Oh, I need to finish some more designs. I got some stuff I'm working on. It's brewing in the crock pot.
But yeah, buy our merch on TeePublic. That'll be linked down below. We got one design so far, Muscle Rock. Treat yourself to a Muscle Rock shirt. You can get a button or a little sticker if you want. Those are very cheap if you don't want to, you know, put in $20 for a t-shirt, which I totally understand.
Muscle Rock is a original character that I have designed myself, and it is not the mascot for our fucking podcast. I wish it was. We need to get a good mascot. You just want to do Phoenix Jones?
Yes.
And that's a teaser for what I'm going to talk about. Yeah, I fucking love that story.
But anyway, let's just jump right into it. First, I wanted to go over a news story that we covered last week.
Yeah, I see a special little thing at the top.
Yeah. Yeah, I fucking hate April Fool's Day. So, last week, we covered a story about how they cast Henry Cavill as Wolverine. And I did not bother to fact check my source for that information. It was from this channel that I watch that does a lot of like comic, like movie news. And this guy did a video about Henry Cavill being cast as Wolverine in the MCU. And I saw that video and I was like, cool, I'm going to add that to the show notes. We're going to talk about it this week. I didn't Google it and I didn't look at the day that the video was posted. April 1st, 2021.
Get fucked, Alex.
I hate April Fool's Day so much.
I want to say this. I'm happy it's not him. It's not real because I really don't want that to interfere with The Witcher. Because I know Marvel does a lot of things where they try to keep the guys for their things for a while, so they have them on call. And yeah, I really like The Witcher. I don't want that show to have any interruptions.
No, totally understandable. Luckily, you don't have to worry about it because I'm a big old moron. Luckily, I was able to cut that segment from the show so as to, you know, not look like a total idiot. Like I realized as I was editing, I was like, you know, I never Googled it.
I never Googled it as you were doing it.
I never bothered to check if I was reporting an April Fool's joke because, you know, this is a very dangerous week to report any news story.
You know what? You should leave that in just so people can like see what happened.
I hate April Fool's Day because it's like a holiday based on just
lying.
It's just lying.
That's why I like it. You can get away with so much stuff on April Fool's. You can tell people like evil truths about yourself, and they'll never know if it's real or not.
Yeah, it's a holiday centered around gaslighting is what it is.
It's beautiful. I love it.
Because, like, okay, I can see April Fool's Day being fun. Like, if you're like a rambunctious youngster and you like to pull pranks, like, I can see April Fool's Day being fun. You know, do the, you do the trick with like the whoopee cushion, or you do the thing where you put someone's hand in a bowl of water and you piss on them.
But wait, you do what?
But like, the way that April Fool's Day progressed, it just turned into like a day where like publications just post, like they just publish news stories that are wrong.
Yeah.
And that's the extent of it. And it's like, oh, we got you. And it's like, no, we expected this.
Here's the thing, though.
We looked at our phones early in the morning and we're like, oh, it's a cool thing. Oh, Elon Musk is the Green Goblin now. Yeah, that's interesting. And then roughly 2.5 seconds later, we're like, oh yeah, it's April Fool's Day.
Here's the thing, though, Alex.
Got the whole squad laughing.
The way I look at April Fools is like how people in the Purge look at the Purge. It's a necessary evil. All the people who aren't little shits that prank everyone all the time, that's their day to get all that mischievous rage out. Otherwise, we'd have 100 people doing gone wild YouTube pranks or whatever. Ooh,
okay, you know what?
I have a point.
You know what? The Purge is such an unrealistic concept. And I have had no
April Fool's Day.
I've had no outlet to express this, but the Purge is so like ridiculous in its concept because like most crimes that would be done would be like petty shit, like shoplifting. I feel like would be the worst one, other than like a few murders.
Oh yeah, no,
like it would be mostly like just smoking weed.
The movies definitely make it much more intense than what it would actually be.
Like the vast majority of crimes committed during the Purge would just be like shooting up heroin in Ohio.
Yeah. Getting married in that one place, I forget. I think it's Texas.
Oh God. If the Purge was real, so many Matt Gaetz types would just marry 17-year-olds.
Yeah.
Or like fuck 17-year-olds. Okay, no one talks about this. How much pedophilia is there in the Purge universe?
Way too much for it to be a coincidence. The people that invented that did it just for that.
I've never seen
in the universe.
Movies.
I don't think the people that made the Purge are pedophiles.
Yeah, you gotta be clear about that.
Yeah.
But like in the Purge movies, because I've never seen them, is it addressed just how much pedophilia would happen?
No, because in all the movies, they make it seem like the only crime people want to commit is just brutal murder. Like the first one, like there's this, they save this one guy who's being like lynched in the streets, his family. This is like a rich family with like a high-end house. They have all this security defenses for it. And they save like this black homeless man who's almost getting lynched in the streets. And then like their neighbors have formed a death cult and they want to kill them for some reason. And
now, I know this is like
the movie.
This take is kind of played out. And like, everyone else that's talked about the Purge has mentioned this, but it needs to be said, how awkward is the Monday after the Purge?
Yeah, that's the thing though.
Like, let's just say the Purge is on a Friday night and you come into work on Monday morning, working with the people that spent like a whole night attempting to brutally murder your family. How do you deal with that?
Here's the thing I love about the first Purge movie. You get a slight taste of that at the end of it. Because, spoiler alert to anyone who hasn't seen The Purge, including you, the way the movie ends is the dad dies, but the mom and the other, and the homeless guy, they overpower the murderers and they get them like held hostage in the dining room. And instead of killing them, they're like, no, we're better than this. We're going to wait until the morning and then you are all going to get up and get out of my goddamn house. And so they wait until the morning, and it's just this extremely awkward silence as all of their neighbors who are trying to murder them are just sitting there like, okay. Sorry. It's
God.
just damn.
No,
I think
like
The Purge would make a beautiful TV show just because of that, the interactions after the day.
I could not agree more. Okay, so like what Harley Quinn did for the DC universe, I want a similar show for the Purge universe.
Yes.
Where it's like a workplace sitcom, but every episode is like the Monday after a different purge.
No, I want it to be The Purge, and then like the rest of it's just the rest of the year as it goes by. Like the start of the season is the start and end point of each season is a purge. And then the rest of that season is just the morning after, basically. It's just how life returns to normal.
Yeah, no, I can't get over,
killed the mailman, so I guess no one's getting their packages today.
what I can't get over is how in this universe, like within this premise, like they treat crime like, oh, you got to get it out of your system. Like they put like murder, like first degree murder on the same level as like eating a little too much sugar. Like giving a kid like a Reese's cup, like, oh, just like Halloween. Like they treat it like it's fucking Halloween. Like, oh, you give the kids one night a year where they can just eat a fuck ton of candy, and then the rest of the year, you just you tell them that they can't rape.
To be fair though, Alex, you haven't worked retail, so you don't understand the blind rage yet.
But like what I'm saying is like the fallout of like rape and murder, I feel like it should be treated a little bit more. I feel like it should be a little bit more taken a bit more seriously than like a cheat day.
Yeah. No, they never address like the other crimes. The only things that they address in The Purge is, I think one of the movies they have a guy stealing shit, and the first one's about the murder cult.
Yeah. But yeah, like most of the crimes would be like smoking weed and like going to the Pirate Bay without a VPN.
Yeah. I think
like most of the people would just be smoking weed and watching pirated movies.
Yeah. Gotta do something while you wait for the 12 hours to pass.
I guess.
No, but that's the thing though about The Purge though. It's a fun movie concept until you think about all the crimes that are legalized. Then it becomes this horrible thing that's like, oh god, who would okay this?
Yeah.
Like, I get the murder thing though. I've worked retail. There are some people I would definitely purge.
Well, how quickly would the economy collapse? Because if all crime is legal, that includes financial crime, like tax fraud. Like you could just literally just put all of your money, like you could just launder it in that 12 hours.
And this
just
is
launder
why
your money so you don't have to pay any taxes. Put it all in like Switzerland or whatever.
This is why the movie only ever talks
account.
about the murder shit, because no one wants to address that stuff, because they know as soon as they do, they'll realize how big of a problem it really is.
Yeah, and like I know rich people already don't pay taxes, at least not as much as like the working class. But still, like it would be like more of a problem, and how quickly would society just be ruined?
Are there rules to The Purge? Did they have the
What
Purge
rule?
police?
No rules.
Second rule: don't fuck with the IRS, please. We need your money.
Joker
you want to
rules.
start with you want to be in The Purge? You have to pay your taxes.
Yeah, a common misconception about The Purge, they think we operate on one rule, no rules, when really we operate on Joker rules. Like murder is fine, but we're not fucking with the IRS.
You don't understand. The IRS are serious. I like to imagine during The Purge, the IRS just rolls out their fucking PMC, their private military company. They just fucking like patrol the streets collecting everyone's taxes. It's like, shit, the debt collectors have mobilized like in fucking power armor and like mech suits.
You know what? Speaking of the Joker, though, so like I said, I haven't seen any of the Purge movies, including the election year one that they put out in 2016.
I haven't seen that one.
Just judging by like the trailers and like the marketing, it feels like If We Live in a Society was a movie.
Election year, yeah. That was a weird one because they tried to base it off of the 2016 election.
Yeah.
And it was just a very weird movie. I haven't seen it. I've seen clips from it and the trailers for it, and I have no desire to see it because it is such a weird concept of the Purge, but through a president-elect's eyes.
Yeah, that just seems weird.
It's like the reason why the first one was
Hold
so
on, I
good.
gotta see if these are like on anything.
They might be on Netflix. I know election year was for a while. But the reason why the first one is so highly regarded is because it's a concept people like think is fun to think about.
Did they do a TV series?
They might have. It's probably just like one night though, or like 2 nights of the Purge. But like it's a fun concept that people think about. Like if crime was legal for 12 hours, what would you do? Kind of thing. It's like the zombie apocalypse for like people who follow the law. But the thing is though, it's like it's also highly regarded because the characters is just like a normal average day family, like middle class suburban family.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, these people I can get behind. I understand. And then it's like, here's a fucking politician that like 1% of you are going to understand the struggles of being. It's kind of harder. Like half the time you're just like, you got like half the crowd's like, man, I'd be the guys trying to kill the politician. And the other half are like, okay. It's like,
yeah. Okay. So the Purge, like the movie, I didn't look up any of the sequels, but the first one it's not on anything. You have to rent it. But the series is on Hulu and Peacock Premium.
The series is a show?
Yeah, I mentioned it. It ran for 2 seasons so far.
So 2 Purges.
And I don't know anything about, the premise apart from it just being the Purge. But
we should watch the first episode at some point and then do a talk on it.
We should.
I feel like that would be fun.
Yeah, let me add that to the list. All right, so do you want to get through? You want to get to the next one?
Yeah, let's talk about how based Marvel is.
Yeah, Marvel got based. So I know who Jordan Peterson is. Jared, I thought that you would know, but
when I go onto Twitter, I only go onto Twitter to share shitty memes and occasionally like some kind of political thing that's like, oh, okay.
So Jordan Peterson,
it's not fun.
For you and the listener, if the listener does not know, Jordan Peterson is in kind of like the same like boy band club as like Ben Shapiro and Dave Rubin.
All right.
Where like they pretend to be intellectuals when really they're just conservatives that want to turn people into Nazis.
Oh God.
So like his whole deal is he's the guy that writes those like 10 rules for life books.
So what?
And he wrote a book. It was like 10 rules for life or like whatever, like number, like 10 or 12 or whatever. And then he like wrote more, and it's like clean your room and shit like that.
No, I don't wanna.
And it's like basically like
you can't like make me Jordan Peterson.
Tips. What made him famous though is he was a college professor in Canada, and they were, I forget like what the name of it was, but there was like a bill that was gonna be passed, and it basically said like, yeah, like if you're like a teacher, you should, respect your students' pronouns. Like if you have a trans student, like, male to female, treat them as
did he get mad about that?
Yeah. He was like, oh, this is compelled speech. They're compelling me to use speech that I don't like. And it's like, okay, like the whole premise of this law is like to be more inclusive and to make it so you can't like basically bully your students. But he's trying to make it seem like he's the professor or he's like, it's like a reverse of God's not dead
here. Yeah.
Where it's like he has to write God is dead 100 times on the blackboard. So yeah, he's just an asshole.
Speaking about that movie, let's never talk about it.
Yeah, let's never cover that movie, please.
Yeah, I just want to say this right now. This Jordan Peterson guy sounds like a piece of work. Also, God's Not Dead is a piece of work. That's a fucking horrible movie.
Oh yeah. Like not even like as propaganda, like it's gross, but as a movie, it's just bad.
It's like I know I'm coming off as like a hyper atheist, and for a while I was. I'm more agnostic nowadays, but like that movie makes me think God is definitely dead.
Oh yeah.
And we're the ones who killed him.
God is dead, and I know because I saw the Sony leaked emails from 2014.
Sony leaked emails
when they were making the Amazing Spider-Man 2. I included this on the clip where we did the Spider-Man rewrite, but yeah, there were some emails that got leaked, and I don't want to like go in depth on this, but basically like the executives were like talking about like, oh, you know, the millennials really like EDM parentheses electronic dance music. Maybe we can incorporate something like that. The millennials also like to do parkour and post with the hashtag NBD or no big deal. And maybe we can have Spidey do that because really to him, it is NBD.
I'm
just
going
cringe shit like that. That is how I know there is no God that loves us. So anyway, Jordan Peterson is really upset. So, by the way, Jared, if you Google image search Jordan Peterson, you might recognize him because he has been like on a lot of shows. Like he was on Joe Rogan's podcast. He was on the H3 podcast.
Oh, I don't watch either of those because I have class.
Oh, well,
get wrecked.
he was generally respected, like as just like a self-help dude before he turned into basically a right-wing goon.
This guy looks like House if he was homeless.
He looks like if House was more of an asshole.
Yeah. This guy just doesn't know how to smile. Jordan Peterson, you need to smile more.
He also has a really funny voice. Like, look up a video of him later. He talks like he has like a Muppet voice.
Oh, he's just Kermit the Frog. Like, hello everyone, it's me, Jordan Peterson here.
If you watch Hasanabi, he does a really good impression of Jordan Peterson.
Nah, I don't watch anime.
Yeah, Jordan Peterson, like for a little bit more background before I get into like what the actual story is. So he is like one of like the fundamental like stepping stones on the alt-right pipeline.
Oh God.
Yeah. So when you first watch his stuff, it's all like, you know, clean your room, have good relations, like, you know, generally useful life advice.
Then it's like,
but then
burn Israel to the ground.
But then
reclaim what was lost.
No, seriously though, like once you like dig more into his like ideology, like what he thinks and what he believes, there's some troubling stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like he has like really like weird attitudes, like just gross attitudes towards like women. Like he doesn't think that like men and women can be friends or work with each other.
What? What?
Yeah, and he also has like really weird attitudes about like religion.
This guy sounds like a fucking like r/atheism incel.
No, the thing is though, he's like super religious.
Oh, he's
and you wouldn't expect that.
So he's just an r/neckbeard then.
He's like an r/atheist, but like on the religious side.
Yeah, so he's a neckbeard. Because that's the thing, like atheists are neckbeards that don't believe in God. R/atheists, not all atheists. Not all atheists, guys. But no, but like neckbeards are basically like
Jordan Peterson's whole thing though is he takes neckbeards and he turns them into neckbeards with a crew cut. Like that's what he does. He doesn't do anything to fix the underlying issues with like your personality. He just makes you more attractive.
That's
like
he
makes you like do stuff that basically just like makes you more like, I guess, presentable, but you still have gross ideas.
So he's an incel.
Yeah, he like caters to incels, and he basically tells them how to be more presentable, but he doesn't address like maybe people don't like you because you're sort of a Nazi.
Yeah, that's the thing though about like the internet hierarchy when it comes to like neckbeards, incels, white knights, and all those other things. Like they're all the same type of like toxic person, but they're different tiers to it.
Oh
Like
yeah.
an incel is basically not a Nazi, is basically a neckbeard who is more cleaned up and like more like approachable and attractive looking, but it's still the same ideals and stuff. Like they still are like, I deserve a woman because I am a man, and kind of things like that.
And I'm pretty sure Jordan Peterson has also like talked a lot about like race and IQ.
Yeah, that's incel.
And like phrenology and shit like that.
Yeah. But then there's other ones too, and this is where it gets more weird because it's like you got the class, the neckbeard class, and then you got the subclasses. Because there's a weird thing where like neckbeards and white knights are always like fighting each other, but white knights are just neckbeards that think they're liberal. Like they go on about they go up and they're like, I'm one of the good ones. I'll fight for you, milady. Tips fedora kind of. They do that kind of shit, and they go around and like. They don't do it out of the kindness of their heart. They're all expecting to get laid by the end of it.
They're
and
all,
if they don't
they're
get
all
it,
r/nice guys.
Yeah, that's the thing though. White knights are nice guys that actually do stuff that seems nice, but then like at the end of the day, they're trying to get in your pants and shit, and they're just really fucking weird. They're like simps,
I personally know people that we went to school with that are like that.
Yeah, nice guys will tell you how nice they are, but they're not. They're like neckbeards. They're like the in between of like neckbeards and white knights. So like in that weird middle where they're transitioning to white knight.
It's sad to watch too because a lot of them are like generally good guys that are just misguided.
Oh yeah, it's mostly because of
like they're horny, so they like that like clouds their vision. So they're like, I guess I'm going to become a white knight. When if they just like had a good personality, like they'd be a lot better off.
Oh yeah. I mean, even then it's not just personality though. It has to like stem off of like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of the words for it, but like, I guess the air around you, not like smell, but like the vibe you give off.
Well, the
you
smell
could be
too.
like, well, yeah, that also helps. But like if you're giving off like a weird vibe, people aren't going to approach you.
Oh yeah.
It's like that's the thing though. It's like white knights, they have some of the weirdest vibes because they have the whole like intellectual shit where they think they're better than other people, but they're also just like Rick and Morty stands, so they have no life outside of Rick and Morty.
Oh yeah.
But they're the kind of fans that'll be like, yeah, you slay queen, and then like, Can you give me a blowjob now?
Oh yeah. Yeah, this wasn't gonna turn into a self-help podcast, but I feel like we owe it to the listeners now. Like if any of you are in that situation where you're like in high school or something, and you're like potentially gonna become like a white knight or a neckbeard, I guess my biggest, like the most important advice would be to just know who you are, know what you are, and like own that. Like don't try to be like tips fedora milady, like that. Like if you're an awkward dude, just kind of own it, have a sense of humor about it, and like that'll attract people.
Yeah, I
like
used
not
to
only
be,
like romantically, but like people will just like you if you're confident in yourself.
Yeah, I used to be a fucking neckbeard and shit. And the problem is, it isn't a confidence thing. If anything, they're overconfident. Like they think.
Well, they're maybe confident about the wrong stuff.
Well, yeah, that's the thing though. Like you just have to. It's not that you have to be more confident in yourself. You just have to have a more realistic view of like who you are. But the problem is though,
that kind of ties in with it. Like have confidence in yourself, but also be realistic. Like that's why I say know who you are, know what you are, like know what level you're on.
But the problem is though, people will just take that and they'll just become incels from it, because that's what incels are. They're people who think they know who they are, and the problem is other people, because they're just that egotistical.
Yeah.
That's why the name incel is involuntary celibate. They didn't make the choice to be celibate. The world did.
Society.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, now that we have like some background on Jordan Peterson and like his whole deal,
that's what the conversation was.
So I haven't been keeping up with Marvel comics. I'm assuming you haven't either.
I read them every once in a while. What's the new thing?
Well, so I guess lately, Red Skull in Marvel Comics is like on the internet now. Like he's kind of like trying to recruit people for Hydra. And in one of like the newer issues of Captain America, there was like in one of the panels, it showed like Red Skull on the internet, and it was like, buy my book, 10 Rules for Life. And he was pretty clearly supposed to be like a Jordan Peterson clone.
Yeah, that's pretty based.
It is super based. Hold on, let me find the panel.
I want to see it. No, that's the thing though. Everyone forgets when like you hear people go online and talk about like, Marvel isn't political. I wish they'd stop shoving this in comics and stuff. And it's like,
you like to those people? What are you talking about? Marvel has been political since day one. What was the first Captain America issue? What happened there? I can't
remember. He fought Nazis. No, but like that's the thing though. Like it's not political as in like which side are you gonna vote for, but it's political in like the sense of like social politics, like
ideals.
Yeah, like civil shit, you know? Like are black people human? Yes. But you need to make a comic so people can get that point across.
Yeah. All right, I'm sending you a couple of like panels from the issue. The first one, it shows Red Skull and like, you know, him on the internet.
That's fucking great.
It's a picture of the Red Skull, you know, 10 Rules for Life, you know, Chaos and Order, Carl Luger's Genius, the Feminist Trap. That's another thing. Jordan Peterson is like really anti-feminist. Like not just in that like, oh, you know, I don't agree with like, you know, the, you know, third wave or fourth, whatever wave of feminists we're on. Like, oh, you know, I don't agree with that. But like, I generally think women should be treated equally.
Yes.
No, he's just anti the idea of feminism.
And I think with that, it's just people being idiots. Because like,
for sure. He's not a smart guy. He just has like certain qualifications that got him to where he is. But he's not like, I don't know, like, I don't want to say he's not intelligent, because you can be intelligent and have bad ideas, but he definitely has terrible ideas.
Yeah. Because
like the quality of person that he is not the best.
Like what I was going to say, though, is like some feminism stuff that's come out in recent years, like manspreading and shit like that. I say that that's not really an issue. And it's more or less a bunch of people complaining about slight inconveniences and thinking that it's some like it's just weird like conspiracy against them kind of thing.
Well, the thing is, it's
like that stuff I can get why you would hate it.
The thing is, though, it's just a few people complaining about it, like manspreading. Like, yeah. One person makes a video about it and suddenly it's the entire feminist movement.
Oh yeah.
Like that's what these reactionaries do. They take like little things like they take a little bit of like, oh, you know, this person that calls himself a feminist, you know, complains about manspreading or says like death to all men. You know, like in like what's the word I'm looking for? Like
satirical, joking,
or like satirical, or like exaggerating, you know, or like hyperbolic, like they're being hyperbolic and saying like, oh, you know, death to all men. So like people like Jordan Peterson or like any kind of like anti-feminist will like take that one person like saying that and then they'll apply that to the entirety of feminism.
Yeah, and that's the problem. That's what I'm trying to get at when I'm saying is people are idiots. Because, like, not all of feminism is like that. There are some members that are very idiotic like that. But that's the same with every societal group. You'll find someone that just takes things way too far in anything.
For sure.
Like, there's Bernie supporters that I'd argue take things way too far with their ideals and stuff. And I'm a fucking Bernie supporter. Or, like, some people are like, yeah, we need to, like, double down and make everything, like, just like fucking like Russia and shit, like complete communism. It's like, that's not what he's going for. It's not what he's going for. He wants socialism, which is like you combine the two and it's like a good mix. Like, I see where Bernie's coming from, but this guy, I'm not seeing where he's coming from. It's like,
there definitely are some people, like I'd say it's a minority of people that are saying,
that's
like,
the thing. The problem with it is that they're quiet. Like, it's a smaller minority, but they're not quiet about it. Like, they'll like make huge like Twitter threads about why their ideas are the ones that you need to go through and stuff. And that's why people latch on to them.
Well, people don't recognize that it's just some people saying it, and like,
oh yeah, and that's the dumb part.
Not only is it just like a few people saying it online, but people on the right will be like not even basing it on anything. They'll just say like all Bernie Sanders supporters are communists, or Bernie Sanders is a communist.
And that's the problem. They'll
like
trying to
find
get at
stuff
like,
that they like seek stuff out that fits that.
Yeah. And the problem is, though, it's like they aren't looking into other things to like see like what the truth is. They go onto Google and they type in like Bernie Sanders communist tweet, and that's what they get for their evidence. They don't see all the thousands of other ones saying that guy is wrong and stuff. And like there's problems with that on like both sides with it, because sometimes you see people like they'll talk about something that the right did or that the other faction did. Yeah, I want to call them factions now. It's Fallout New Vegas, but you'll see things that other people do where it's like, look at what this guy said. And like, you look at the tweet and it's like one bad tweet one of his supporters said, but then you see like 100 other tweets the guy saying like, no, this isn't something we believe in. This guy's just crazy. But everyone will latch onto the one bad thing. It's like the way I look at it,
it's not so easy to both sides this, because like it is different on the right. Cause like let's just say for like example, like you have someone on the right be like, just outright saying Nazi shit.
Oh yeah.
And then you'll have people like on the right be like, oh, we disavow this totally. But like they do dog whistle those ideas quite a bit.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
Where you don't have that really on the left, where it's not like, you got like tankies like, oh, it should be like Russia. And then like Bernie Sanders the next day has to go out and disavow it. And then, but it's not like he's at the same time using coded language to say maybe it should be like Russia. When on the right, you have people saying like, oh, maybe we should go back to traditional values.
Yeah.
Slavery.
That's the problem, though, with the right, is that there's a lot of people that agree with them. They're a more louder of a majority than how feminism has like the loud minority that's all crazy people and shit. The right's definitely full of more insane people.
Yeah. So anyway, Red Skull in Marvel got, he's being compared to Jordan Peterson. So he saw that and he was like freaking out. He was like, I think he was like taking like Red Skull quotes and like filling it in with stuff that he said, because he was like, he had like he tweeted out like a picture of like Red Skull saying like, clean your room, and he's like, oh, the evil Red Skull, kind of like playing into it. But yeah, he's like, Jordan Peterson is like, and people that are like in his like club are like acting surprised by this. Like they're acting surprised that like, maybe if someone like, I want to, kind of tie this back to what we were saying earlier, like about the alt-right pipeline.
Yeah.
For the sake of conversation, let's just say Jordan Peterson himself is not a Nazi, like, or he doesn't have Nazi ideas, or,
however,
being less hyperbolic. Let's just say he doesn't have extreme right-wing racist ideas like, phrenology, race realism and like IQ and stuff like that.
Right now he's quoting Red Skull as a good source for things.
But if someone wanted to lead people towards ideas like that, they would lead with something like, clean your room, here's some ideas, to live by, build up their credibility, and then they would introduce ideas like maybe women aren't equal. Maybe black people just commit more crime.
It's like in the video, it's like, clean your room, brush your teeth. There is no such thing as slavery.
And
the 6 million don't exist.
And then, they would introduce you to those ideas through their actions and words. And they would also associate with people that maybe don't necessarily agree with everything that's said about the Holocaust. And, maybe those people, promote certain YouTube channels that question, the integrity of the election. And then, that leads you to think about, well, maybe this Q guy ain't so bad.
Who the fuck is Q?
QAnon.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about them. I wonder if the FBI is still doing shit with them.
Maybe these guys waving the swastika flag aren't so bad because, I already agree with 60% of what they're saying now that I've been exposed to these ideas and they've been explained to me very persuasively.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Jordan Peterson does that, but
like there are someone wanted to do that, there is a lot of things. This is propaganda 101. If you're trying to get someone,
I am saying Jordan Peterson does that, and I'm also saying that if someone if there was anyone that wanted to do that, it would be Red Skull. And if Red Skull wanted to lead people towards Nazism or being part of Hydra, they would use Jordan Peterson's tactics.
Yeah.
So,
also, let's just
even if you don't agree with it, why are you surprised by it? I don't know.
Yeah. No, what from the sounds of it, what he's doing is just propaganda 101. Like the whole, we're the good guys because we're the clean and fit guys, and then these are the bad guys.
That is absolutely what he's doing.
It's not hard to see it.
Well, it's when Ben Shapiro talks about how Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson's good friend. It's like when Ben Shapiro talks about how people from Israel like to build stuff and people from, the dirty brown Muslim countries like to destroy stuff. A real thing that he said.
Jesus.
Yeah, I forget which country it was, but he basically said what he was really saying is that Muslims are terrorists.
I think he's talking
that's really
about
the meat of what he was saying.
I think he was talking about the Israel-Palestine thing with the Gaza Strip.
I think it was Palestine. But yeah,
it's like
the whole it's like when Trump was like, "Yo, you got these people coming from shithole countries." It's like, what are we only? Is our whole thing not accepting people from places that are worse off than us? And also, isn't our whole thing generally not insulting people's homeland?
Yeah. I tell you what, though, fucking the Christmas truce of World War I was proof humanity can come together. The Gaza Strip is proof that was a lie.
Yeah, maybe we should just make everyday Christmas or whatever holiday you celebrate. If we just make that every day and we call a Christmas truce or a Hanukkah truce or whatever, a Chanukah truce, whatever holiday you celebrate, we just have a truce for just that holiday that happens to be every day. Can we manage that?
Tell you what, that's the thing that always makes me mad. It's like whenever someone brings up Israel and Palestine and shit, it's like the easiest solution's the same solution you'd tell two kids who are playing with the same toy. But they aren't going to listen to because they're a government run by adults that think they have the better book. And millions of lives are worth that book, I guess.
Yeah, it's rough.
It's depressing. Anyways, now on to something not as existential.
Yeah, you want to move on to the next topic?
I would love to.
So, Falcon and the Winter Soldier has been going strong for 4 episodes now as of this recording. It'll be coming out on the airing of the 5th episode, which is supposed to be good.
I want to say this. I fucking love Baron Zemo.
They made Zemo so much cooler in this show.
He's cooler, and I'd argue that he does have kind of a point with this whole super soldier thing. Because, looking at it, it's like, look at all the super soldiers. There's some nice guys, like that Isaiah guy. He seemed like he was, not a bad dude, but had some shit done to him. And Bucky, he wasn't fully super soldier, but he was also kind of a super soldier. But Steve's the only, actual super soldier that was a fucking golden boy. Everyone else
Can I just say, I totally agree with you about Zemo being awesome in this show. But his like sort of redemption, like, you know, being allowed to like work on the team and stuff, like,
oh, it's
like
not enough. He still committed horrible acts.
No,
of
let me
terrorism.
let me finish. Like the very fact that he's allowed to be sort of like an anti-hero, or like, you know, in some cases just a hero, like working with with Sam and Bucky, like it proves that like them fighting the Flag Smashers, it's not really about them blowing up buildings. Like they're not bad guys because they commit terrorist acts. They're bad guys because, you know, they're kind of, you know, do I have to say it? They're kind of Robin Hoods. They're threatening the United States military's power. And that is why they're a threat. Because I guess the stand-in for the US military, the GRC, the Global Repatriation Council, has a monopoly on resources. They have a monopoly on vaccines for the pandemic that was supposed to be in the show, but got written out because it was too similar to COVID. I'll have a link to a Nando V Movies video about that in the description. But yeah, they have a monopoly on vaccines, medicine, all kinds of stuff. And they are going to divvy it up however they see fit, whether it's, you know, by income or, you know, certain other factors that would, you know, reserve the resources towards affluent white people. And the reason that the Flag Smashers are a threat is not because they blow up buildings, because again, that's mighty fine. If you blow up a building, you're still allowed to be a good guy. Example, Zemo, probably other people too. Other people that just get to be a good guy after doing horrible things. The reason that the Flag Smashers are villains is because they threaten that monopoly. They threaten the GRC's monopoly on resources.
I don't think they're trying to build the Flag Smashers up as villains, though, because they do have more sympathetic things than like Zemo and the Power Broker.
They're being built up as a sympathetic villain. Like it's pretty clear, because like I've noticed this in other things when you have something being like, by the way, the Flag Smashers are like a villain of the show. Obviously, John Walker, U.S. agent. Not gonna call him Captain America. He is also an antagonist to Sam and Bucky, who are the protagonists. But
I don't think that's the thing. I think the real antagonist is either Zemo or the Power Broker. I think what they're doing with the Flag Smashers and John is they're supposed to be like, they're like guys you agree with and stuff. It's just that their methods are stuff you don't want to agree with. Because like they really do. I
don't know how much I agree with John Walker.
Well, yeah, no, I think John Walker, in my opinion, it's like he's supposed to be a representation of like Bucky's idea of what this whole symbol thing means and stuff. Because like John Walker
is a representation of like white privilege and like white mediocrity.
I guess in a way.
Well, we can get into that in a minute. But what I was saying a minute ago is the reason that I say the Flag Smashers are being set up as one of the show's villains or antagonists, a sympathetic villain at that. But the reason that they're not like anti-heroes or whatever, like the reason that they're clearly bad guys is, so when a show or a movie wants to set up a sympathetic villain, like if you like, it usually happens when the villain is a leftist or like a communist analog. Like this happens in like The Legend of Korra. I believe we've talked about this on the show before, but in The Legend of Korra, you had Amon and I forget what his like crew was called, but they were basically like anti-benders. Like they wanted equality. And so what they do to set up these like supposedly complex villains, and this is the same with the Flag Smashers, they give them an ideology that you can sort of agree with, like, people should be treated equally, resources should be distributed equitably, but in order to make you not root for them, they have them do something horrible, whether it's like blowing up a building or like, doing other terrorist things like what the anti-bender people do in Korra. And also they undermine their I guess their motivation. Like in Korra, I don't know if they've done it so much in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but in Korra, they undermine the villain's motivation by not really showing much anti-bender like bigotry. Like there's a little bit of it just to like establish that it's like sort of an issue, but it's generally treated as like a silly cause.
Well, yeah, no, that's why I'm arguing. Like, I don't think they're trying to build them up as an antagonist, but more or less like I guess, dark hero. I don't know the word for it.
Well, no, what I'm saying is it's the reason that I think is that they're an antagonist is because they had them blow up a building and be it doesn't care if I don't care if innocent people die. Like that's clearly the show's effort to make you be like, whoa, hold on, these are the bad guys.
Well, I don't think it's supposed to be bad guys, because like the way they have the scene set up with him and the leader, Carly, when they're talking and stuff, it's clear that they both agree with each other that there's something wrong, because like Sam was also a dusted guy. It's like the way I look at it, it's like kind of like there's the guy that wants to be the peaceful protest kind of guy, and then it's the guy that wants to do like the rioting and stuff.
Oh yeah, like MLK and
Malcolm X. Yeah, like that. And I think that's what they're trying to go for. I don't think the Flag Smashers, they're trying to build them up as villains. More like they're the antagonists, yeah, but I don't think they're the bad guys. Like it's like writing 101. Like the antagonist doesn't have to be a bad guy. They can be a good guy. They just have to be in the way of the hero of the story, the protagonist. And that's what I think they're doing.
I'll give a little bit on this. I will say maybe they're not by the end of the show. Maybe Carly Morgenthau and like her like inner circle aren't gonna be like, like total villains. Like they'll be sort of like in the anti-hero territory. But I will maintain, and I will not move on this, at the end of the show it's gonna be like a centristy kind of ending, like, well, their ideas are good, their hearts are in the right place, but they did it in a wrong way. We need incrementalism. Like it's gonna be that kind of thing.
That's going to be the ending, because it's just Marvel has such a huge fan base, they don't want to piss anyone off. It's Disney, come on.
Yeah.
Where the comics, they don't really care about like what message, like they care about the message they send over who they piss off more, because comics are more obscure still. The shows are designed by a company that's whole thing is they want more money, so they're going to make everything very like compromised and shit. Like most conflict, unless the bad guy is very clearly a villain, they're going to have it set up to where they become like they'll have an agreement on something, or the villain character will become an anti-hero and have a redemption arc, which is what I think they're doing with Zemo and John. Because like what it sounds like is he's going to become US agent at the end of this, and with Zemo being like on the start of his redemption arc, I think they're going to do the Thunderbolts, which is the team that's built up of a bunch of anti-heroes. Yeah, it seems like that's
sort of like Marvel's Suicide Squad.
Yeah, except better in every way. And that's not because I like Marvel. It's just because Suicide Squad is literally made up of only insane psychopaths that like killing innocent people. Whereas the Thunderbolts is mostly made up of like reformed villains and like actually not insane people. Like most of the people that are in the Thunderbolts are,
I don't know if I would call John Walker not insane.
Well, yeah, he's definitely not. Well, he's not mentally stable. But I wouldn't say he's outright like a horrible like villain character. I think his whole thing is he's supposed to represent like trying to be someone you're clearly not, because like he wants to be Captain America. He's trying to become Steve Rogers when he should just try and be his own version. Like, Yeah, and that's like the thing that
I've seen people talk about it where like, where Steve and in the future Sam add like they make the shield mean something, like they add value to the shield.
He tries
to take value from the shield and like make that he's trying to like use the shield to like give himself credibility.
Yeah, like
He's like, do you know who I am?
One of the best ways I think that you can see is the question of, if you had the option, would you take the serum?
I
Lamar
wanted to ask you
asks
about
him
that.
I think it's a pretty interesting thing because it does add more to Zemo's character and a little bit of Sam's too, and it also helps like with the contrast between how they view themselves, like Sam and John. Because Falcon, clearly, he's like, I won't take the serum. Like, I don't need to. I'm fine the way I am. I don't need to become a super soldier to be, the person I am. Where John,
it's also an ego thing.
Yeah, it's definitely an ego thing. Because, like, John wants to be Captain America. He feels like he's failed as Captain America because he's not Captain America. I mean, let's face it.
And he feels like he's the guy. Like,
yeah.
Like the major difference between like Sam and Steve versus John Walker is like Steve was a reluctant hero. Yeah, they didn't ask for it for sure. They
didn't ask
Steve
for it. But
Steve was chosen because he wanted to basically like stand up to bullies. He wanted to like look out for the little guy, and he saw being Captain America as like a means to that end, where John Walker sees like, I guess, well, not even helping people, just, fighting, I guess, bad guys as a means to the end of being Captain America.
Yeah. I think John, though, at the start did have some good in him about like actually standing up for people, but it seems like
he was presented well.
Yeah.
That's what they play on the morning talk shows when they introduce him.
I'm talking about like when he's actually like talking to Lamar and stuff, because he seems like he's a normal like stand-up guy, but it's clear that like the way they're trying to go with him is that he's not Steve Rogers. He's a different person, and because of that, he can't be the Captain America he's trying to be.
Right. Well, it's easy to be like, oh, I'm just a humble guy. I can't believe I was chosen to be Captain America.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about the show thing.
Let me finish. When it comes down to it, though, like it's easy to be like, oh, I'm just some humble guy. But when you're like in the heat of battle, like it's pretty easy for someone like him to turn into like, do you know who the fuck I am? I'm Captain Goddamn America.
Yeah, then I think that's just because he's slowly turning into like the U.S. agent character, because like, how his thing is that he views himself as a failure because he's not Steve Rogers. He's not trying to become his own Captain America. He's trying to be Steve Rogers' Captain America. So unless he's actually like him, he thinks that he's a failure. Hence the whole, like, he fights the, I forgot the name of that group. The Wakanda ladies. He's like, they weren't even super soldiers.
Well, I think he wants the reputation of Steve Rogers, because he never tries to be like Steve Rogers.
Well, yeah, no, he's trying to be like he's still a soldier. Like, they still are used as like soldiers and stuff. He's just a soldier with blue on him instead.
Yeah.
So he's trying to be like World War II era Steve Rogers in a way.
No, not even that. No, the best like analogy, I guess, for like who John Walker is, and I saw this on TikTok a couple days ago. Remember in the first Avenger when Dr. Erskine and Tommy Lee Jones's character were talking about like, oh, I want a good soldier, and Dr. Erskine's like, hey, we should have a good guy. He's the guy that Tommy Lee Jones points to. He's like, oh, he's a good soldier. He follows orders. He's big. He's strong. Like, that's who John Walker is. He's just kind of a tool and ultimately a bully.
Yeah. John Walker's whole thing is that he's not Captain America. That's what I'm trying to get at. And that he's like, inside, he knows he's not Captain America, but he's trying to force himself to change it. Hence the reason he takes the serum and, he decapitates that guy because he gets so angry that they killed his friend. And like, that's also another thing, though. The difference between Cap and Bucky is not Cap and Bucky, Cap and John, is that they have similar, like this, like how things are done between both of them is very symbolic. Like how a lot of the scenes where they're in action with John and stuff, he does a lot of things Cap does, except with John, like his whole story is like a different perspective on it. It's like inverted, where like when Bucky dies, that just strengthened Cap's resolve to like be a better person and stuff and like, save the day. It turns John into like this rage-filled mess, basically.
Yeah.
And I like that because it definitely is setting him up to be U.S. agent, who is the inverted Cap. He's not evil, but he's not a good guy. And I really want to see more of that character too. Because like in the comics, U.S. agent isn't that bad of a character. He's just a very like bizarre kind of thing. Because he's like Captain America.
I'll include a video about the history of the character John Walker in the description. Video from Comic Drake. Pretty good breakdown of his history.
But I think
generally not a good dude.
Yeah, no, he's not really that nice of a guy. I will say that.
But anyway, psychoanalysis aside, I want to get into I guess like the notes,
the nitty-gritty,
what I wanted to get into.
Yeah, go for it.
So yeah, like I thought, just watching the show, just watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we all kind of generally agreed that like John Walker's not a good dude. Like I thought we all agreed that he, he's an asshole, and he's like clearly like not the guy that you want to be Captain America. Definitely not the guy that you want to be in that position of power. But to my surprise, apparently a lot of people just unironically like John Walker and think that like they agree with his actions.
Yeah, I don't really agree with his actions. I can understand where he comes from with them, but at the same time, he's very clearly not supposed to be the character you agree with. He's, if anything, he's built up as more of an antagonistic anti-hero, where it's clear he's going to become this other comic book character that's used as a good guy a lot. Yeah. But it's very clear he's not going to be, Captain America. He's not a hero. Like that's why I think they're using him. That's why I think he's going to be part of the Thunderbolts and stuff, and that's why they're building them up. Because like he is like the United States he is the U.S. agent. He's the United States'
like
Cape Crusader. Yeah. So it's clear they're going to do. I think they're going to do Thunderbolts. They're going to bring him and Baron Zemo into it because they both have their whole like story arcs they got to fulfill and stuff. Because I don't know if
Zemo would work with Walker.
Oh, that's the thing, though. It's like I feel like Zemo's whole thing is after this, if he's not outright killed, if he becomes, a real antagonist, I think he's going to start on his whole story arc and how in the comics and stuff it is, where he becomes a Thunderbolt and he's evil at first, but he switches over to it. Like he's brought on, if I remember in the comics, he's brought in for to get a pardon for something, if I recall.
Yeah, that's probably what it'll end up being.
But the thing is, like, as he works with them and stuff, like, he at first he tries to take over and is like a dickhead, but then he slowly comes around to it and stuff. And I feel like that's what they're going to do with the story, with the show too, if they do a Thunderbolts one. Except it's going to be with both of them, because John Walker is definitely becoming more antagonistic and more villainous, more like a dark hero or an anti-hero. I forget which one it is, but I'm excited. I hope
I'd
they
say
do
he's more
it.
Villain territory, but
like that's the thing though. Like I think it's villainous acts, but he's still like a hero in quotation marks. Like he's still going to do what is best for the good guys. But it's clear that he's going to be a darker take on the character and stuff. Like as, the character in the comics is.
Yeah, but
I forget what happens.
Well,
to
the
him
reason
in the
that
comics,
the reason I think he's not like a good dude is partially you mentioned this earlier. Like, would you take the serum? Like, part of the evidence that he's not a good dude at heart is he takes the super soldier serum, and it's clearly presented him and Battlestar are not the kind of guys that you want to be in power, because they're not the kind of people that are responsible enough or ready to wield the power of being a super soldier. And basically anyone that would want to be Captain America probably doesn't deserve to be, and that includes me and every other Marvel fan, because I know that I and a lot of other people would take the serum. Granted, I would take it more for health and aesthetic reasons, but still.
It's still not a good reason, Alex.
I would take it just to like be sick less, you know?
I'd be like Zemo.
Like,
I'd come up to you. I'll just smash it on the ground.
Like I would take the serum simply to like not need health insurance, you know?
Yeah.
Like it would be a cost-cutting measure.
Like, that's the thing that I want to talk about, though. It's like, I love Zemo in this because his ideals and stuff, like, they're challenged a bit, but at the same time, they're also reinforced.
Well, he's right.
Like,
he's clearly
in
right
ways.
about like the like supremacist ideals leading someone to want to be a super soldier.
A super soldier and stuff, yeah. Except like with Carly and Steve, I'd say like they seem to be like they want to be super soldiers to help people. But like at the
it's a
same
means
time,
to an
though,
end,
it's like,
as opposed to like wanting to just be a super soldier.
yeah, and I like that about Zemo. It's like you actually get more in depth with him, and like he gets proven right, like with John Walker, because like he's clearly not going to be Captain America. He's definitely, you know, he's like what Zemo's saying. It's like there is no good super soldier except for Steve Rogers.
Yeah,
and
he's
even
like the exception
in the statement, though. It's like, yeah, he's like there's never been another Steve Rogers. I think that's what he says.
Yeah,
and
like Steve Rogers was
like,
an anomaly.
Like Carly and stuff. Yeah, and like Carly and them, like they're clearly like not evil, but they have flaws too, and it just helps strengthen Zemo's thing. But I think deep down they are more like Captain America. But with fucking Zemo's whole thing, though, I just really love everything about him in this. Like I've always loved Zemo, like in the comics and shit, and so I'm just so fucking happy that they're getting him in here and they're doing him justice. Because like that's the thing about Zemo, he's a bad dude, but he's not entirely a villain. Because like again, like in the comics, he does turn around and become a hero. He becomes the leader of the Thunderbolts and shit. And he's not a bad guy,
right?
But he's a fucking shit. And I just love that he's actually who he was, especially like the costume. I'm so happy they brought that in.
Oh yeah, that was cool to see, like the mask.
I think though, because in the comics, what happens is Zemo gets his mask grafted to his face, or no, that's original Zemo. The second Zemo, Helmet Zemo, gets horrific facial scarring and has to wear the mask to hide it. I think that's what they're going to do. Yeah, I will admit this. Helmet Zemo, which is who Baron Zemo is, not the most original character. He's just Doctor Doom, but in purple spandex. But well, like design wise, but character wise, he is still one of my favorite villains because he's like, you know, you get him.
Yeah,
I do like though the retort where they're talking about it, and he's like, they're talking about the shit, and he's like, oh yeah, well, like if all super soldiers are bad, what about Bucky, huh? Because like you kept him as your lapdog, and he's like thinking about it. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. And, like that's the thing though. It's like, do you consider Bucky like 100% a super soldier? Because like I'd argue and say that he's like kind of the halfway point, because he's like part super soldier, part augmented guy, well, like Cyborg from fucking Snyderverse.
Well, Bucky is a super soldier. He's like Hydra's attempt at making a super soldier.
Yeah.
And, you know, he obviously has like the metal arm, so like he has that going for him too. But like, I think what Zemo is getting at is like partially like, you know, the serum amplifies, you know, characteristics and stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
But like what he really is getting at is like
power corrupts people kind of thing.
No, let me finish. What he's saying is like it's power corrupting, and also like if you're the kind of guy that wants to be a super soldier, maybe you're not like maybe you shouldn't be the guy to be a super soldier.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like how we talk about like the military and police attracting a certain type of person. It attracts the kind of person that wants to wield that kind of power against people.
Yeah.
Like, what are your motivations?
Yeah.
where like Bucky didn't want to be a Hydra assassin, obviously. He just wanted to be a normal guy fighting in World War II. And then he got turned into something that he never wanted to become.
Yeah.
And also, like I mentioned, Steve, he didn't want to be a super soldier. It was just a means to an end of protecting the little guy.
It's still interesting, though, that Zemo doesn't consider Bucky the same way that he reveres Steve. Like, he doesn't, like, think of Bucky as a good person either. Like, he thinks he's, like...
well, he's
it
just
seems
an
like
all-right
he's
guy.
Part of it. Yeah.
Bucky's just he's like chaotic good, you know. He's like chaotic neutral, I guess. He's a good guy. Like
I'd say chaotic good.
He's like he's like as good as like a normal guy is. Where Steve Rogers was like the pinnacle of like altruism and kindness. That's why Steve got elevated to that kind of like status.
If we're doing like a tier list on how the characters are, I'd say like Bucky is chaotic good. Sam is what is it? Neutral good.
Well,
I think that's what it is.
All of the Captain America dudes, like Steve, Sam, and Bucky, they're all chaotic good, but like in different ways. We're like,
I'd say Sam and
I don't
Cap
even know
are more neutral good. Bucky's
I don't
more
even
chaotic.
I don't even know if the like moral alignment chart is like nuanced enough to like graph those people, you know?
Well, yeah, like I'd say that Bucky and Cap are neutral good because they do things that are both lawful and chaotic, where Bucky, like, he's definitely chaotic good. Like, he does good things, but like he's very like it's my own way kind of thing and like standoffish. Where Zemo, I'd say, is like neutral evil. Like, he's not really on anyone's side, but he's also not a very good guy. And I'd say that
he has ideals, but he's ultimately looking out for his own like safety.
Yeah. And then I'd say that fucking John is probably like lawful evil, where he's an evil guy, but he's trying to be like in the right kind of way thing, you know? Except for that one time. Decapitation America. Thanks, Mr. Sunday
fun
movies.
fact: we're the first podcast to say that this was actually recorded the day before the Weekly Planet made that joke first. So I think we should get credit for it.
Get bent, you scrubs. I'm really excited for the next episode to come out.
By the way, any joke that we do that you think you heard somewhere else, we recorded the day before that.
Yeah, or I just stole it. I don't give a shit.
No, we Jared, we don't steal any jokes, okay? We recorded the day before they were made.
The thug life didn't choose me. I chose the thug. Oh, wait. I stole the thug life.
I wasn't chosen by the thug life.
I stole the thug life.
I was busy staying inside watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I saw some guy doing thug life stuff, and I walked up to him, I put my hand on his temple, and I sucked it out of him. I am now a thug.
We've passed the hour mark. Do you want to get into recommendations of the week? If you have anything, you can add it. I just have one this week.
Yeah, I can talk about some stuff.
All right. First, this is a quick one. I started playing this. Are you familiar with the Bloons Tower Defense series of games?
Not really. No.
So Bloons, Bloons. It's like it's a series of like tower defense games where you gotta stop balloons from getting to a certain thing. And I have been playing the Bloons Adventure Time tower defense, Bloons Adventure Time TD on Steam. I don't know what else it's on, but it's pretty fun. It's a basic like tower defense game with like an Adventure Time skin. It's just a fun little game. It's got like the sound design is pretty good. Like there's like they have music from the show, but it's sort of like a
remix.
It's like a cute little like instrumental version of it.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. There's like a few different songs that I recognize from the show. So if you're a fan of Adventure Time and you like tower defense stuff, or if you just, if you like just, vegging out and just playing something fairly mindless, it's a fun thing. Maybe play it while watching YouTube or something. It's a fun little game, and I recommend it. And Jared, do you have a recommendation this week?
I've got several recommendations. None of them are very recent, though. So first recommendation, my recommendation I always say, The Mummy, the 1995 movie. I think it's 1995. The original The Mummy, the one with Brendan Fraser in it. Watch that. Great movie. Beautiful movie. You like Indiana Jones? You probably like it. It's one of those old action-adventure movies. So it's like...
I do love Indiana Jones. And by the way, on the list of stuff that I want to cover on the show, Young Indiana Jones is on that list.
Oh, fuck yeah. I love Indiana Jones. Like, when I was a kid, I loved the action-adventure genre. So a lot of those movies, like Indiana Jones, Deep Rising, The Mummy, like, were movies I liked, but Deep Rising and The Mummy both traumatized me, both for two different things, and both of them for things that you shouldn't show children. So they're good movies, but fucking hell, there's a lot of just like the special effects in Deep Rising is amazing. And I feel like that's its biggest like problem, because there's a part like what Deep Rising is. It's a movie about a giant like alien squid that attacks and eats people. At one point, they cut a guy out of it and he's like melting, and it's this horrifying scene. And it's just, yeah, this is a movie that they aimed at families. And it's like, fucking Christ. Like, you watch that scene and it's like, oh, I'm not sleeping tonight. But no, watch them. They're great movies. The old action adventure genre. You don't really see much more of that nowadays. Like, it's the actual action adventure. It's not like superhero movie action adventure. It's like the old like smuggler type character, like fighting like Nazis or something, and like there's a supernatural force shit. It's like that kind of stuff. It's like fucking good shit, you know? And I'm always sad that we don't have more of that. I know they try to revive it with the Crystal Skull, which I'm going to argue wasn't as bad. It's just stupid parts in it. Some of the characters are really dumb, but
I have not seen that movie in like probably 8 years at least. Like, I have not seen it in such a long time.
I've been having more introspective on my taste in movies lately and thinking about how I really feel about these things. And I'd argue and say that Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, it's an okay movie. People just went too hard on it because they had a bigger idea of what Indiana Jones should be. And it's like, Indiana Jones works best as just a fun action movie. Like, no one got mad at The Mummy 2 when it just became a fun action movie, when it was more kid friendly and shit. Why are you getting mad at Indiana Jones for doing the same thing?
You know, I think the worst part about Indiana Jones, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, is just how bad the Lego game was.
Yeah, I will agree with you there.
I had it on the DS. It was kind of shit.
That's why.
Especially
if you get it on like
even compared to the first Lego Indiana Jones game on the DS, same platform and everything, it's just, it feels cheaper. It feels it feels soulless.
No, that's the weird thing when it comes to the Lego DS games. It's like as they progress, they got worse. A big example of it is I'm a big Lego fan. I have almost all the Lego games. I fucking love them. They're beautiful in their own ways. There's just something about these like puzzle games for kids that I used to play that just awaken this like fucking part of my brain.
Oh yeah.
But I was playing I played two of them that I remember the most being very different, and that's Lego Star Wars The Clone Wars DS and Lego Star Wars The Clone Wars 360. Both of them, I just said the versions they're for. The 360 version is a much different game than the DS version. There is so much more stuff you can do with that. And I haven't played Indiana Jones, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull on DS or on the console, but
I do not recommend it.
I think you should try out the console one. Like, if it's on sale for like dirt cheap, you should pick it up and see if it's different. Because I think it might be the same thing. Like, yeah, not right now, but like wait till it's like 99 cents on sale, because those Lego games go fucking dirt cheap. So
they go like
amazing.
They go as low as like $5, but even then, I wouldn't spend $5 on that game.
I say look,
especially because I wouldn't buy a Lego game that I don't have some attachment to, because like that's really part of the appeal. You know, like,
yeah.
playing through like
that.
the Star Wars movies, but in Lego. Like if I don't have some attachment to the property, I'm just gonna be bored.
Yeah, I can understand that. I'd still say though you should look into it, see how different it is from the DS, because you might actually enjoy the console port / PC port. Because I know that Lego has a weird track record with making the DS versions like basically a trial version of the actual ones, and it's bizarre. Like it's the same thing with other big console ports they do to DS. Like they're always like this weird watered down version. Except for one, and I will say this, if you have a Game Boy Advance, you need to pick this game up. It's called Bionicle Heroes. There's a GameCube and a Game Boy version. Both of them are fucking amazing, but I loved the Game Boy version a bit more. Like the GameCube one is a third person over the shoulder shooter, and it's great. The Game Boy one is a fucking like puzzle isometric like bullet hell game, and it's fucking awesome. Like, I remember I played the shit out of that as a kid. I found all of the secrets. I knew where to go for everything. And it's like, that game was an experience that I fucking loved. And like, you just had to been there, man. It's fucking great. But that wasn't the recommendation I was going to give. This is a recommendation I haven't given yet. There's a book series I read. I've told Alex and my other friends about it. I don't think they've read into it yet. But it's called Metro. Metro 2033, 2034,
like the games?
35. Yeah. These are the books the games are based off of. They're much different. They're much more insane and beautiful and wonderful with more nuance to the characters, except for the second book. But you read that just so you can understand who Homer is, because he's in the last book too. But I fucking hate the second book. But who knows? Maybe someone else would find enjoyment in it. But they're an amazing story made by a man named Dmitry Glukhovsky, a Russian man. And the idea is it's a post-apocalyptic Moscow, like Russia. And everyone during this decided to go into the metro tunnels to survive the nuclear fallout. They did. And they've now created a society in which they live in these different stations. There's like different like states and stuff.
Society.
And it's like, fuck off. But
do they live in a society?
Yes, but it's an interesting thing though, because they have all these different factions, and it's realistic that these groups would come out. Like there's one faction that's just neo-Nazis, and that's an antagonist for a lot of like the books and stuff. There you see them deal with them sometimes. Like, and it's also like a thing I love about this, I wish more games would do, is they have a supernatural element to it too, in which they add in some like really insane shit that isn't explained, and it makes it even more horrifying. Like there's monsters and stuff, like there's the normal mutants that you get in post-apocalyptic stuff, and then you get shit that is like mystical in nature, and it's just like folklore and shit, and it's just so fucking awesome when you actually get to like see this like world built up and stuff. And I hate the second one because they do that and then knock it all down. It's fucking stupid. Don't read the second one, but you have to read the second one because it's the second book in the series. But fuck the second one. God damn it, man. I'm still mad about that. But no, it's an amazing book series. I highly recommend it. It's fucking great. It's a bit darker and depressing at times because the story, you know, is a darker, depressing story. But I highly recommend it. It's one of my favorite book series. The games are great too. However, very different from the books, because in the book, Artyom kills like 2 people, and in the games, he's a fucking murder machine. So yeah, bit different. But great books. I recommend them. Beautiful series. I think the book set is like $30 for them. Great books. I recommend it. But yeah, that's my recommendation of the week. Just some good books and games I like. I can't really think of anything else. Just a PSA though, there is to the people who enjoy the game Warhammer Vermintide 2, on the 20th they will be releasing a free expansion pack from the sounds of it. So get excited.
Well, I think that's the show.
Hell yeah.
Thank you everyone for listening to Bold of You to Say. If this was your first time here, thanks for giving us a listen. Check out some more of our episodes. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Leave us a review on Podchaser. That's a great way to help us out. It's like an IMDb site for podcasts. throughout the month of April, they're actually donating 25 cents per review, and if we respond, they'll donate an additional 25 cents. So, leave us a review, preferably positive.
We'll take anything. Like, good publicity is any publicity in my book.
Yeah, you know what? For charity, we can take a few 1 stars. But we will roast you back for charity.
It's for charity.
It's for charity.
Your mother. I have to. I'm a charity slut.
If you're listening on YouTube, you can leave a comment telling us what we were wrong about. You can tell us anything that you want us to cover in a future episode.
Yeah.
Or, you can just, tell us how awesome we are. That's also always appreciated. Or you can do the same thing. Tweet at us. Tweet, topics for the show. DM us. Tell us what you think. As long as it's positive. Nice comments only, of course.
Yeah.
Follow us on social media. Follow us on Twitter. Follow me on TikTok. Friend Jared on Steam and or Xbox.
Also, follow me on Twitter, too. Have you been posting those, too?
Yeah, I have all of our social media in the description.
I feel like I should have asked that earlier. I'm stupid, though, so...
It's okay.
Follow me home.
Share the show with a friend. Tweet out our clips. Our clips channel will be linked down below. I've been putting out some more stuff there. And subscribe, obviously, so you don't miss the next episode. Turn on notifications. Turn on automatic downloads. And,
you know what? Just have a good day.
Yeah, just have a good day.
I feel like we don't say that often. I probably say it every year, and I just forget it. There's a year, every episode, and I just forget it. But you know what? Y'all have a blessed evening.
Once a year, we're going to tell the listeners to have a good year. So
every other day. No,
have a good year, and we will see you April 13th, 2022.
Nah. Have a good day. I hope the rest of your days are shit, though. It has to counteract.
Have one good day, but spend it wisely.
One of my favorite memes I've seen, I love these memes. It's basically like, you know how you're told not to do things all the time when you're a kid?
Right.
And like as an adult, like you don't do them because it's like, oh, you're not supposed to. It's bad. Like it's usually like, don't do this because you'll fucking die kind of shit. But there's memes
not
I've
in
seen.
The Purge universe.
Yeah. But no, these memes I've seen though, I love them. It's these guys. This guy like does the thing he's not supposed to, and he dies. But then he wakes up in like a lab, and they're like, "You've escaped the simulation. Congratulations!" And it's like, that's so. I
love it. I love that kind of meme. I love it so much.
They're so just like basic. They all have the same punchline, but they always fucking get me every time I see one. It's like one of them I saw was like a guy, he like shoved a fork in the outlet, and it's like, congratulations, you've left the simulation. It's like, is that all it takes? Like even like some of the dumbest ones like jaywalking and shit.
No, it's kind of sad though, because like some people will legitimately try that. Like, I gotta escape the simulation. Why do people like that gotta ruin fun
they got
things?
Out. I mean, Alex, if you think about it, they technically got out. This has been here to say. That's actual dark humor for all you fucking racists out there. Fuck you.